like beer? Do you love sports and beer? Then you're exactly where you need to be. This is the Huebs Views and Brews show on 1252 Sports Chicago. Cheers.
Hello, everyone. Welcome on in another Huebs Views and Brews for this Monday. A lot of Bears fans call it Victory Monday, and you know what? Anytime the Bears win a game, you got to celebrate just a little bit. They win one yesterday, beating the Cincinnati Bengals in their home opener, a final score of 20-17. Talk about holding on, and not the thrill-a-minute game you'd expect. Andy Dalton goes out. We'll talk about that. Justin Fields comes in. Who's going to be playing this coming week in Cleveland? The Browns are a very, very tough team, especially on the road for the Bears. So we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about beer. That's what we always do here on Huebs Views and Brews. And we're going to talk with Jamie Albert from Will County Brewing. They've been around since 2018 over in Shorewood. We will talk with him around 7:40-ish and see what's going on with them over there. They've been brewing up some great beers. One really good beer that's an award winner, and we'll discuss that and much, much more. You can always comment on my Facebook page or on YouTube or get to me during the course of the week on my Facebook page. Or heck, we don't usually use Twitter, but anybody who wants to use Twitter, they can also get to me at Fred_Huebner on Twitter. Get to me on the 1252 page. Any questions you may have or other things about beer or about sports, and we'll get to all of those things and a lot more. I always open a show except once. Every time but once, I've opened the show with a beer. And today's a special one because it's actually the Huebner. That's right. It's the beer that Nick and Ivy named after me. It's an American IPA, and it's one I had far too many of the other day. Usually when I go drinking craft beer, people keep saying, well, you're drinking all the time. Yeah, I go to a place and I have two different beers, or a flight of beers, which is 5, which comes out to be the size of 1 because they're just 3 or 4 ounce beers or something like that. But the Huebner was nice. We had a great release party the other day at Nick and Ivy on Saturday. Mike and I did a podcast, Fat Mike and I. We had a lot of fun. Lots of people showed up and had a chance to try the Huebner. You can pick it up at Nick and Ivy. I'm going to go there tomorrow afternoon, actually, to pick up some more because I was supposed to pick up a bunch of 4-packs for friends and family. Yeah, I was in no condition. Let me take a sip of this real quick. Oh, yeah, it comes back to me now. Memories of Saturday afternoon. All kinds of fun in Nick and Ivy. If you've not been to Nick and Ivy, you got to head on out there. A great time had by all that stopped by the other day. Like I said, we did the podcast. We had the beer. I had the first cans, the first 4-pack that was canned of the Huebner. And it's very tasty, an American IPA. And it's about 6.4 alcohol by volume. It's funny. My brother said, it says something about being pine in it. And I said, no. Don't worry. Because my brother one time got me a Christmas beer. And I'm not going to say where it was from. And it said pine. And it tasted like you were sucking out a pine cone. It was not that good. This has maybe nodes of pine, but it's a very, very good American IPA. And they went down very, very easy. And that's what you want when you're drinking, right? You don't want something that bites. You don't want a lot of hoppy things that bite and have a big aftertaste. Some people may, but I like smooth stuff, and this is a great job by Paul and Chad over at Nick and Ivy Brewing. So we had a great time there. I'd like to tell you more about it, but I don't remember a whole lot more. Chet Brett stopped by, Scott Childers stopped by. We had a good time. A lot of people trying the beer, talking about it, having a fun time. Guys from Moore's Brewing, MOOR''S, Moore's Brewing came by. I had a couple of their beers I'm going to try. That was nice too. So we had a really good time on Saturday, and it's a perfect place in downtown Lockport. I cannot wait till my house is built in Lockport, because right downtown Lockport, a fun time. Tangled Roots, Lock and Mule, right across the street. A lot of other things to do down in that area, so I'm looking forward to it. But had a good time. The beer is really good. There's 12 beers on tap at Nick and Ivy, and the Locktoberfest is there. They have the Nick of Time still on tap there, which is their anniversary barrel aged beer. That's very tasty. So get on out there if you get a chance and grab some. Say hi to Paul. Tell him I sent you, and he'll charge you double. No, just tell him I sent you. Paul's a great guy. They were doing a great job over there. Well on their way in their second year of business over there on State Street. So I want to talk a little Bears. The White Sox are playing right now. The White Sox magic number is 4. I don't care a whole lot about magic numbers, okay? Magic numbers mean this is how many wins for your team or losses by the second place team until you clinch your division, until you clinch, in the White Sox case, the American League Central Division. We've known forever the White Sox were going to win the division. They have an 11-game lead over Cleveland. Cleveland's playing today. They've already lost 1 game. They've got a doubleheader against Kansas City, I think it is. So there's not much of a doubt that the White Sox are going to clinch the division, and it appears they're going to end up playing the Houston Astros. So the Sox took 2 out of 3 from Texas. They're in Detroit right now. Their evening game tomorrow got changed because it's supposed to have 5 inches of rain in Detroit tomorrow night, so the Sox are going to play an afternoon game, and they're hoping by then maybe it's clinched. They don't have to play that third game. Then they go to Cleveland for a 5-game series before coming home for the last of the homestand. I do not know if, by the way, Bruce, I do not know if Orange and Brew is going to be selling the Huebner. I'll have to check with both Eric and Paul from Nick and Ivy, because that would be nice. That's right, Timmy. The magic number is 3. It was 4, and then Cleveland lost earlier today. So my brother Tim also keeping abreast here on the show. So I'm not too concerned about the White Sox pitching staff. I am concerned that they do something like they did this over this weekend. They played the Texas Rangers. They scored a lot of runs on Friday. Then on Saturday, they got 3 hits. And then they scored 7 runs on Sunday to win. So they took 2 out of 3. That's what you're supposed to do. I know everyone's saying, what are you worried about? When it comes playoff time, they'll be ready to play. I hope so. Tim Anderson's starting to play well. Yasmani Grandal, Carlos Rodon pitching today. He had a 3-0 lead and having problems finding the plate for the White Sox. The Tigers now tied the game up at 3. But it's good to see that the White Sox are getting guys like Lucas Giolito back, Lance Lynn back from the IL. And we've seen what Luis Robert has done since he's come back. So that's been nothing but good. It's just scary. You get to the postseason and you play the Houston Astros. The Astros are a good team. Forget about cheaters and banging trash cans. They're a darn good team and not an easy team to beat. It's not going to be It's not going to be easy, especially if you don't get home field. And right now the Sox are a couple games away behind the Astros for home field. So they'd go to Houston for the first couple games. And the White Sox play so well at home. Right now the White Sox have the best home record in the American League. And so it means something to play the games at home. And I would love to see the White Sox do something here in the last week and a half to maybe get past the Astros and get home field advantage. That would be even better for the White Sox when the playoffs roll around. If not, you play the first series. Then you'll end up playing probably either Toronto, the Red Sox, or Tampa. They're all good, okay? Tampa's playing out of their mind. Toronto's got a lot of really good young hitters, and the Boston Red Sox don't scare me as much. So we'll see what the White Sox do as we go along with the final week and a half of baseball. When we are sitting here in 2 weeks, we'll know exactly what's going on, who the White Sox will play. We'll probably do a White Sox playoff preview along with a recap of the Bears game that day, because they play in Cleveland this coming Sunday. Then they play home against Detroit before going on the road to Las Vegas on October 10th. So White Sox baseball, all is good. Now we get into some Bears conversation, okay? Bears conversation. They win yesterday, a final of 20-17. It was not the thrill of moment game. Andy Dalton started the game. The first play of the Bears, a fake. All of a sudden, Andy Dalton rolls. He's got no one to throw to. He throws it out of bounds. Second play, I think they ran the ball, not many yards. Then they get a first down to Darnell Mooney. And Andy Dalton moves the team downfield. They score on a touchdown pass to Allen Robinson. A slant route. Oh, my God, a slant route by the Chicago Bears. I've been talking about this forever. They don't throw slant routes. I don't know why, but there was Allen Robinson. Quick slant into the end zone, touchdown, Bears. They have a 7-0 lead. And it was nice to see. Nice to see the Bears grab the lead. The defense was playing a little bit better at times. They're playing against Joe Burrow and a bad offensive line. Burrow was sacked 5 times in the first game of the season. The Bears got him for 4 sacks yesterday. So we'll see how things go there. I'm looking forward to how the Bears defense improves as we go along. The battle at quarterback, okay? Andy Dalton was 9 for 11, 56 yards, and the touchdown. He had a quarterback passer rating of 118.2. Justin Fields, 6 for 13, and 60 yards and an interception. He was sacked twice. And what we actually did see from Justin Fields is that he needs to work more with these offensive line guys. Everybody in the offensive line played every snap. All 5 of the offensive linemen, and that's what you need. You need some consistency on the offensive line. But there were problems. There were false starts. You got a false start called. I want to say one was on a Fetty. And then you got 2 from the quarterback. That's right. Justin Fields taking a step back before the center was snapping the ball. He and Sam Mustipher got to figure this out. You can't keep doing this. Can't keep having problems getting the ball from center. I think eventually Andy Dalton is not going to be the starter. I don't know. And the Bears don't seem to know how it is. It's a bone bruise on his left leg near the knee. So we'll see if he's going to be able to go. David Montgomery. The Bears say they wanted to get him at least 20 to 25 touches. They got 17 for him in the first game. Okay. They got 20 carries from Montgomery. He had just 61 yards. Not enough for the Bears running back. He caught 3 balls for 18. So that turned out okay. Darnell Mooney, 6 catches, 66 yards. Allen Robinson had a touchdown catch, and then he dropped one in the end zone, which would have been a really nice one to get. He had 2 catches for 24 yards. Goodwin had 1 for 10. The Bears targeted the tight ends once in the game. 1 target for the tight ends. You can't do that. Absolutely cannot do it. You've got to be able to go to the tight ends. You've got Cole Kmet. You've got Jimmy Graham. You've got Jesse James. There's no doubt about it. You got to get to them. And they weren't doing it. I'll get to the defense in a second. But there were a couple of silly plays in the game. Tayshaun Gibson, who was nice enough to come out last week and explain that he screwed up and Eddie Jackson screwed up by not touching Van Jefferson down against the Rams, and Jefferson was able to get up and run into the end zone for the touchdown. Well, Tayshaun Gibson said that won't happen again. What's Tayshaun Gibson do? A pass to Jamar Chase goes off Chase's hands, and as Chase is laying on the ground, Tayshaun Gibson, who had nothing to do with the play, comes up and claps right in the face of Jamar Chase. Now, he gets hit with a taunting penalty. And that was 3rd down, so the drive continues. And that was brutal. You can't do that. The NFL has made a note to all the officials, and you've got to enforce the taunting penalty. And I think it was Bell, the cornerback, got one when he came in on Andy Dalton and said something to Dalton and got into his face. He got one immediately afterwards. So Tayshaun Gibson, brutal play on a 3rd and 5. Bears were getting the ball on a punt. Instead, first down for Cincinnati. Can't do it. Then Robert Quinn. We finally saw Robert Quinn with a couple of sacks. And then what's he do? He chases down Joe Burrow. And as he gets to the end line, he gives him an elbow and shoves him out of bounds. As he's already there, shoves him to the ground. Now, granted, Burrow did a good job. He fell. He saw him coming. He knew what was going to happen. But Robert Quinn, silly play. I call them stupid plays, okay? Some people don't want to be so I hate to call a player stupid. Mark Sanchez, I watched the game again today, and I've seen people say, hey, Kevin Kugler's really good, but I don't like Mark Sanchez as a color commentator. I thought Mark Sanchez was really good. and he was breaking some stuff down. He was using some lingo that they use as players and things like that. But Mark Sanchez said, bonehead penalties. Could not be more correct. You cannot have stupid, bonehead penalties as the members of the Chicago Bears. You're going to cost your team, you're going to cost yourself, and you can't do it. It's so bad. And Tayshaun Gibson with one and Quinn with another. It was nice seeing Quinn get to the quarterback. What they were doing, a lot of stunts on that line. Khalil Mack was stunting, Quinn stunting, going one way and then coming in around the tackle and getting a free run to the quarterback. And that was nice. For the longest time, Steve Mongo McMichael, who I worked with on the pregame shows on ESPN 1000. We all know Steve is battling ALS. He said for years, why don't the Bears stunt more often? That's how he and Hamp and William Perry and Dent, that's how they got their sacks. Not, obviously they were able to blow past people, shove people away, but the stunts, and they were able to do it. He couldn't figure out why the Bears weren't doing it. They did some of that yesterday. Nice to see. Hopefully that will continue as they get some more guys. Bilal Nichols, I thought, played pretty well. Not too shabby. I love seeing that. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. And the defense, I think, will be okay. Roquan Smith, one of the better linebackers in the NFL, I think. He is the most consistent player you're going to see on this Bears defense. And I almost forgot to mention Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson had a tremendous game. He had 3 or 4 passes defended yesterday. He had his first career interception. It was all good. And Jalen Johnson is the guy that's going to be tested this year. He's a second-year cornerback, and you know he's going to be tested because they have him on one side, Kindle Vildor on the other. Vildor's trying hard. He got burned a couple times, especially in the fourth quarter by the Cincinnati wide receivers. They've got wide receivers. I've got a bunch of notes here. Gibson scoops up a Higgins fumble. Yeah, Eddie Jackson did something good in the game, right? Eddie Jackson did his good thing. He created a fumble, and Tayshaun Gibson picked it up. That was nice to see, and he ran with it. Fields working on changing the play. He's having problems calling out the pressures. He saw something coming in, doesn't get the call in time. All of a sudden, a false start. Those things need to be worked on. But Jalen Johnson with a pick, Roquan Smith with a pick 6. At the time, it was 17-3. Say, okay, this is all good. Everything's good. The Bears gave up 2 touchdowns in 1 minute in the fourth quarter. When Fields drops and throws back, goes through the arms of Allen Robinson. First and goal at the 9 for the Bears, right? They have to kick a field goal. First and 9, they don't get in at home. Brutal. That's where the tight end should come into play. It was funny because watching the game today, Jimmy Graham, the tight end, there were 3 guys on him. 2 guys right in front of him and the safety. The other teams know that Jimmy Graham is the guy the Bears are going to go to in the red zone. So have Cole Kmet in there also. Do something. You've got to get the balls to the tight end. And there's nothing I dislike more than when a head coach or manager in baseball, we've got to get this guy in the game more often. Or we got to run more plays for this. And Matt Nagy said it yesterday. He says, we know we got to get the ball to the tight end more often. What do you mean you know? You're the guy calling the plays. You're the, quote, offensive genius. Get the plays called to the tight end. You've got Cole Kmet. You've got Jimmy Graham. You also have Jesse James, who can catch the ball over the middle. He's done it for Pittsburgh for years. Now he's here with the Chicago Bears. You got to figure out a way to get these guys the ball. So the Bears end up winning game, holding on, winning 20-17. I mentioned 14 points in 1 minute. At 6:40 of the game, the Bengals had the ball, and they moved downfield, scored, get the ball back because Fields throws an interception, and they score right off the bat. So Chase beat Vildor, and Eddie Jackson, the safety, is supposed to come over to help. Yeah, he helped. He ran one way, and Jamar Chase ran the other way for the first touchdown. And then T. Higgins beat Vildor. He basically posted him up at the goal line and then turned, caught the ball, touchdown. So 2 touchdowns in the span of 1 minute from the 4:39 mark to the 3:39 mark in the fourth quarter. Bears get the ball, get a first down, hang on, get the victory, 20-17. A victory Monday. And like I said, any win in the NFL is a big win. You saw the other games. A lot of questionable things, a lot of strange things. Minnesota has a 37-yard field goal attempt to win. They booted just wide right. So the NFL is not an easy league to get victories in. The Chargers lose to the Cowboys. That was a tough game. Last night, the Ravens hang on and get a win over the Chiefs. Some very, very exciting football. The Bears game wasn't that exciting, but as a Bears fan, if you love the Bears and you love Chicago football, you've got to be excited. Let me grab another sip of the Huebner. Again, head on out to Nick and Ivy. You can grab the Huebner, and you got me in a can, American IPA, very, very tasty beverage. And again, I'm not going to have as many as I had the other day tonight. Just one or two, okay? We will be talking more beer in a little bit. The football, Mark Sanchez. I didn't think much of him. Definitely didn't think he was a waste of time when he was here with the Chicago Bears. They said, well, Mark Sanchez is a guy, he's a veteran, and he can help our rookies learn. No, that's not why you keep a guy like that. You have a guy that's ready to play, if not, spend that money somewhere else. But listen, Mark Sanchez was able to get it. Handsome man. He is in the booth. I thought he did a really good job yesterday. The Bears don't always get the top announcers. And I know a lot of people were saying, look at this. We go from Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth down to Kevin Kugler and Mark Sanchez. But I thought the call was good. I thought the broadcast was very, very good yesterday. It was nice to see. So as the Bears go forward, if in fact it is going to be Justin Fields, I'm hoping that the Chicago Bears and Matt Nagy have plays called that are going to be to the strength of Justin Fields, because I think what we saw here in the second half yesterday were plays that were still Andy Dalton kind of plays. I don't know that the scheme changed at all because Justin Fields was in. At least it didn't change much. There were a couple of passes, maybe a couple more passes thrown a little bit further downfield than others. Yes, Alan. Alan's my producer today. He says far better than Dick Stockton. Dick Stockton's he's been around, kudos to him. He must have pictures of somebody. Because Dick Stockton, he's a Hall of Fame broadcaster. He did great games way back when. But for the last 20 years, I've been saying how Dick Stockton's lost it. And he's still doing games. It's amazing. Again, more power to him, getting paid the big dollars to do games all these years. But I can't believe that he's still working. He'll call a few Bears games this year. You'll get a chance to see. He'll call people by the wrong names and stuff like that. And sometimes when you call a lot of different sports, I can imagine that happens every once in a while. But, I don't know about anybody else. If you let me know what you think. But I thought Mark Sanchez did a pretty good job. Since the Bears aren't going to get the top broadcasters all the time, Mark Sanchez, Kevin Kugler calls a good game. He does a lot of work for ESPN during the college basketball tournament. You'll hear him during the NCAA tournament for Westwood One. And you'll always hear Kevin Kugler at you're sitting courtside. He does a great job. Really, really good announcer. He has fun with the game. He's not what I'd consider one of your generic announcers. He doesn't sound a lot like the generic announcers that unfortunately are coming up today. And again, who am I to criticize them, right? I'm just a fan when I'm sitting here on my couch watching a game, but there are certain people I like, certain people I don't like. I love ex-players in the booth. I love when ex-players tell you a little bit about things that happened with them. And that's why I think Mark Sanchez was doing a pretty good job of it yesterday, along with Kevin Kugler. And Laura Oakman on the sideline, she's been around Chicago for a while, and I think Laura does a great job. It's tough being on the sideline. You don't get a whole heck of a lot. I know that over the last couple of years, they've tried to make it so that a sideline reporter gets a little bit more information. They're able to get to a few more things and give you some more details. But they did a good job of going down to the sidelines with her yesterday. Another sip of the Huebner. So I'm looking here. The Lions are actually up in the game tonight by a score of 7-0, which is surprising to me. But because the Lions were bad, they did run the ball halfway decently last week. We'll see what happens. I'm waiting to see. I picked Aaron Rodgers on my fantasy team, and he had a brutal game last week. I'm sorry, to open the season. Hoping he plays a little bit better. I know as Bears fans, you never ever want to see Aaron Rodgers do well My brother yelled at me as soon as I picked Aaron Rodgers. You pick Aaron Rodgers because you want to win money, want him to do well for you. And we'll see how tonight's going. It's weird to have a Packer-Lions game on the second week of the NFL season. Maybe they're trying to get that one out of the way and go with some of the other good matchups later on in the season. So let's go. Let's see. Tayshaun Gibson, Robert Quinn. I talked about them. Andy Dalton, Justin Fields, David Montgomery. I want to see as much of David Montgomery as I possibly can. That would be so much fun to see. The one thing we're still seeing, and it's Matt Nagy's play calling, that still gets you, okay? I've got it written down here. A nice first drive. Andy Dalton finds Mooney for a first down, a couple of nice plays. But they run these silly little flips. Like here comes Williams, the running back, number 8, which is hard to figure. Every time I see him, I'm trying to figure out who he is with all these single-digit numbers. But he comes running. Dalton gets the snap and just like drops the ball. Williams grabs it, and Daniels can't hold the line, and he gets tackled. Silly play. No reason to run that play. It's early in the game. Go with your running game. Go with passes. Don't throw to the tight end. You don't have to run some of those silly plays early in the game. I'm sure some people out there are probably disagreeing with me, but until they work, they're silly plays in my opinion. The slant to Allen Robinson, you don't see many slants by the Chicago Bears, first of all. Then you don't see hardly any slants that actually work. And it was nice to see that actually did work. Couple of false starts. Fields will work that out. They'll figure it out. And I think that with Justin Fields there, we did see that he's the kind of guy where if he's got nowhere to go, he can take off and run. And we know that. I'm not a college football guy, but anybody that saw him at Ohio State, you know the running ability he has. He also seems to just put the ball up in the air. He's got a very easy motion. The ball just takes off. I like seeing that. And I think as we move forward with Justin Fields at quarterback, we'll get to see exactly what we all hope will be a franchise quarterback for the Chicago Bears, one they have hoped for years, but have not really had a franchise quarterback. And Justin Fields seems well prepared. I was listening to the radio station today, and they said the Bears don't have any superstars on offense. I think David Montgomery could be one of the star players. Going into week 2, he was second in the NFL in rushing. Well, after a 61-yard effort, he's not going to be there anymore. But Allen Robinson, a guy that can catch the ball. He's not one of the top 10, 12, 15 wide receivers in the league. He's not. But I think that Darnell Mooney and with Marquise Goodwin and with Damiere Byrd, who was really nowhere to be seen yesterday, and some of the tight ends, I think the Bears can actually have some weapons on the offensive side that can challenge and make this an interesting team. The defense should be better than they were in the first game. Everyone talks about how good they were, but when you give up 2 touchdowns in a minute in the fourth quarter when you're holding on to a 20-17 or 20-3 lead, and all of a sudden it's 2017, that makes it tough, okay? Could you have imagined if the Bears would have lost that game, if they didn't get that first down, had to give the ball back to Joe Burrow after he just burned the Bears for a couple of touchdowns? So it was a sigh of relief to get the victory. They hung on and now get a chance to go to Cleveland, where Baker Mayfield got hurt the other day. It looked like he popped his shoulder out, went into the locker rooms, came back out with it. Landry was out from the very beginning of the game. Nick Chubb, a guy the Bears are going to have to try to figure out how to stop him, because Nick Chubb has been running wild with the ball for the Cleveland Browns over the last year or two, just running all over the place. So Baker Mayfield has weapons, and it's a very good team. The Bears go to Cleveland, the city with the mistake by the lake, they call it. And, so we'll see how things all go for the Bears as they get ready. And it'll be a whole nother week, all week long already, with Matt Nagy's press conference earlier today. With Matt Nagy's press conference, we already saw they asked a question. Matt Nagy misunderstood what the question meant. Brad Biggs had asked it, and he was not going to say if Andy Dalton is the starter, if in fact he's healthy, because he said, well, I don't want to give the opposition anything to, get one up on us. So the scheme has to be different with Justin Fields in as opposed to Matt Nagy. Throw more stretch plays, more other plays that the Bears can use and actually take advantage of the offensive skills and abilities that Justin Fields brings to this team. That's why they drafted him. That's why they moved up. That's why they traded people in order to get him. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a tough game against Cleveland. If you are watching the game against Cleveland when it's over and when White Sox baseball is over, you can always give me a call over at ESPN 1000. Be breaking down the game of the White Sox, or after the White Sox post game, we'll be doing Bears post game after that Bears Cleveland game. Should be fun. See exactly who's going to be the quarterback, how long the quarterback's going to last, whoever may be out there, and hopefully the defense can suck it up, play well against Baker Mayfield. We know that Baker Mayfield can make mistakes. We know Baker Mayfield will put the ball in the air, and it could be a good game for the Bears secondary. Again, Jalen Johnson played a great game, tremendous game. And it was good to see, because as a second-year corner, he's going to be tested and tested often by teams around the National Football League. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about beer, as I have a little bit. I talked about how I was at Nick and Ivy, and if you only know a little bit about Nick and Ivy, sit and watch, because Paul and the guys at Nick and Ivy are doing a great job here for the 1252 Sports Network.
Hello, this is Paul from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. We are located at 1026 South State Street in historic downtown Lockport, Illinois. We are very excited to be partnering up with the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show, as well as the 1252 brand, because we are one of the few Chicagoland breweries that embrace sports and sports culture. Come in for a fresh brewed beer made right here in Lockport while catching the game of your favorite team. Stay for the live music that we have booked every weekend, or just come for a cozy atmosphere to enjoy a good conversation with a friend, loved one, or complete stranger. Nick and Ivy makes you feel right at home no matter what the occasion is. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook by searching for Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. Visit our website for our up-to-date tap list, or to go shopping on our online store at nickivybrewing.com. That's NIKIVY brewing.com. Come in today for a fresh brewed beer born and raised in Lockport, Illinois.
I love that, a fresh brewed beer, born and raised in Lockport. And as I mentioned to numerous people, I'll be moving to Lockport soon. Nice little community and lots of things to do out there. So looking forward to it. And sorry, I can't put down the Huebner. Really a tasty beer. You can get it at Nick and Ivy. There's a lot of tasty beers out there, and that's what we do. When Fat Mike asked me to do the podcast, I said, listen, I'll do a podcast. I've been doing sports and talking sports for the longest time. When you do sports on the radio, this beer right here, Miller Lite and Bud Light, sponsor almost everything. So a lot of times it's difficult to get in and talk about other beers. Every once in a while, I'll drop the name. Like people say, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to Nick and Ivy. I'm checking out the guys at Skeleton Key. You're doing things like that." So, boy, this has to be about a little more than a year ago. I was out in the Sherwood area, and I stopped at Will County Brewing. And then when I was at Miskatonic a while back, as they were gathering money for Skeleton Key Brewing after their roof was ripped off and their tap rooms were destroyed in the tornado, I had a chance to meet Jamie Albert from Will County Brewing. So I called him this week to see if he would like to come on. And let's bring Jamie on right now and talk a little bit about Will County Brewing. Jamie, what's up?
What's up, Fred? How you doing?
I love the White Sox attire.
Oh, yeah, I'm watching the game out of the corner of my eye, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying too. There's a rain delay. They were hoping to get this one in because they said 5 inches of rain the next day or two. So,
yeah.
Hey, so I had a chance to stop. It was during COVID. I had a chance to stop over at Will County Brewing. And I think I told you the day I saw you at Miskatonic, it was difficult. Everyone's wearing masks. We sat at the table, no flights or anything. So I had to pick a beer. And believe it or not, I picked Bam Bam Loves Pebbles then. And then I see you guys go to the Great American Beer Fest, or actually, I don't know if anybody goes because it was all done kind of virtually this year, I think. But you guys win a gold medal. How cool is that?
It was crazy, man. We weren't going to enter it at all. Just coming off the COVID year, we were in it in 2018 and 2019, full participants. We sent 4 beers each year to that. Got some good criticism back, some good feedback from our beers there, and COVID hit last year, the whole thing was canceled, and just came about this year, and I was like, we'll throw Bam Bam at it,
Yeah.
and just totally shocked. I was golfing that day. It was a week ago Friday, and all these buddies of mine were texting me, the owners of Obscurity, from Workforce, Metal Monkey, all my brewer buddies around, and I had probably 10 text messages within 2 or 3 minutes. Like, congratulations. What's going on?
Yeah.
You just won gold. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It's crazy week, man. It's been fun.
Yeah, I think probably the only thing that would have been more fun is if you guys and everybody else would have been able to be there. It's the one festival. Obviously, there's festivals everywhere. When I first got into beer and started doing this about 10 years ago, I would go to hit as many as I can. But now it's like, I wish they would schedule one a week so you could go to enough of them, but they're all over the place. But I remember people have told me, and Doug Padilla, a guy who used to write for one of the papers here and worked for ESPN, he's gone there a couple times and says, if you're a beer fan, you got to go. It's like heaven for beers fans for a whole weekend.
Oh yeah. And this year was the CBC was going on at the same time in Denver, the Craft Brewers Conference. So that was in person, but the GABF, I believe, was just virtual. But yeah, next year we're going for sure.
Yeah, I know. I've already looked. It may coincide with me thinking of going to Oktoberfest in Germany, so I got to figure out which is which. But they'll still be there. It's funny you say that they'll still be there, but the last 2 years neither of them were. So it's difficult. I guess you got to grab them when you can.
Right,
your place in Shorewood. How difficult was it, or how did you pick where you were going to have the brewery? Because I've told people so many times, they said, where's this brewery? I said, well, it's in this industrial area here, or this there. They go, why are they hidden? I said, well, they need the space. The place you're in right now, do you have enough space to do what you want to do? And why did you pick that place?
The first answer to your question is we picked it because me and both my partners, Jay and Eric, we're all from Shorewood.
Okay.
We wanted it to be a community brewery from the community that we live in, and we have a great tie with all of our customers, and we know many of them by name and see them frequently, and it's a great community. The location was basically, what was it, the third or fourth choice?
Okay.
We were looking at an industrial building, something big and cheap.
Sure.
And our space now is definitely not big or cheap, but it's great. We're able to be centrally located right here in Shorewood in the community. We can cater to those local and then still distribute our beer out to other areas as well. But the other answer to your question, no, we don't have enough space. We can never have enough space.
Right.
And trying to expand is always going to be a struggle, but we're looking into some avenues right now, and hopefully shortly we'll be able to brew more beer faster.
Well, and it's funny because you mentioned this, and I had it written down here, but you mentioned your other brewing buddies, and from what I see, some of them have helped you too. I know a lot of other people. There have been breweries out there that don't have breweries. I mean, breweries, and they brew their beer somewhere else. But you're able to do that with some of your friends too, aren't you?
Yeah, we do some of our larger beers. Bam Bam is, as a matter of fact, we brew that. We contract brew over at Metal Monkey. They're good friends of ours, and the whole community is kind of like that, though. I mean, you know how it is. It's everybody helps each other out, and just from what Skeleton Key went through when we met last, and it was
sure.
There were breweries from everywhere that were there to volunteer and donate and participate and whatever. It's just a great community to be in.
It's shocking because, and I say it all the time with everybody that I come on with, but and I've tried to explain it to people. They say they do collaborations. Don't they try to one up another one? It's like, no, they are all, they're little niches, they got this, they're here. And a lot of times the collaborations, they're good for both beers.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's something that we were kind of late getting into, and trying to find the advantages of doing collaborations. We were the small new guy coming in, and of course, as a new business, we want to do a collab with the big breweries, all over the place, and to help put our name on the map and all this kind of stuff. But it's not even really like that. It's an excuse to get together with our other brewer buddies and have a good time on a brew day, really.
Sure. And that's what it seems like. Every time I've seen a collaboration, they always send pictures. And I'm sure there's a lot of work getting done, but there's a lot of partying going on, a lot of fun and enjoyment when everything finally gets finished, I guess.
Oh, yeah. There may or may not have been some instances when we did collabs with breaking out the Weber grill and, getting some burgers and brats going while we're brewing. I mean, we have a good time with it. It's fun.
When you guys decided to name it, I know you're all from the area, but was Will County the first thing you were going with?
No. I actually have 23 years of experience in the casino industry. Started with the riverboats here in Joliet area and stuff like that. Opened up a casino in St. Louis and spent about 8 years out in Las Vegas also. My wife and I were both in the industry, and so we just moved out there before we had kids and everything. And so with all of that, I was like, okay, I want to do like a jackpot brewing or some kind of blackjack brewing or something casino based, but then when we decided where it was going to be in Shorewood, and I wanted to be more community focused, and Will County's, Shorewood is just a very small part of Will County. There's the county is almost I think 750,000 people. So it's a pretty large area, goes all the way to the Indiana border, and there's 15 or 16 breweries in Will County now.
That's amazing.
It's amazing for sure.
Yeah. Well, when you go to your website, you've talked about it too, but it mentions three things: craft, community, and charity. And that's the one thing I've seen from a lot of the other breweries. You want to get involved with the community. If there's anybody looking to be a fundraiser, your place is a nice place to have it, things like that. How do you go about doing that? Do you just meet the people from the area and say, listen, our place is available. We're here to help you out?
To be honest, a lot of times they come to us. Whether it's a benefit golf outing for somebody and says, hey, we're looking at, doing something, and we listen to every story that's out there and try to help whenever we can. We just did our big 5K run a couple of weeks ago here in Shorewood, the Will County Brew Run, and Shorewood Hugs is a local charity that we do a lot of work with, and they were the beneficiary of that, and they came out and had a great time, and they raised a couple $1,000s for them, and whatever we can do to help out here and there. I mean, why not use beer to help get them to their goals? We love helping out like that.
Yeah, and it's funny, when the day I was there, because it was during COVID, I know they didn't have the tables and chairs outside, but you have that quite often, right? In that parking area right in front and on the sidewalks. It had to be big for you, probably during COVID, and even now as it gets a little long and it's perfect outside, really nice days to sit outside. That's got to be a big plus for you.
Yeah, especially now. I mean, sometimes people don't want to sit out there in the summer when it's that hot out there, right? But right now, like you said, with the weather cooling down a little bit, between 75 and 85, that's my comfort zone there, man.
Mine too.
I'll drink beer outside all day.
Yeah, there's no doubt. With October rolling around, Oktoberfests are always big. I saw online you guys are having your first Oktoberfest mug a couple of years in. Now you got your first mug, and it's cool because so many people. I mean, I know that John Bitterman's collected glasses forever from everywhere, but I know that so many people. I've got some Buckle Down. I've got some. What else? I have Skeleton Key. I've got some Whiskey Hill. I got so many glasses. I'm never drinking out of them. But did you wait? Did you guys always plan on doing a mug? And how cool is that going to be when it does come up for Oktoberfest?
Yeah, it's something we just decided to do. We've never really made an event out of Oktoberfest, so we're kind of doing the promotion through the whole month of October. Where you buy the mug for $10, comes with a beer, and well, you buy the beer and the mug together for $10,
Sure.
and then it's $5 refills for the whole month of October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does every brewery in Illinois do an Oktoberfest, or does everybody at least try?
Seems like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but it's my favorite style, so you won't hear me complain.
No, it's I haven't been there for Oktoberfest, but I've been there for, before and after Oktoberfest, and I love the German beer, but the Marzens and all the other stuff. I've got a fest beer from the guys over at Milk Money. I know that Nick and Ivy, Paul and those guys do a Locktoberfest and things like that. So I'm a big fan of it. I can't get enough. And I know even before that, I used to drink some of the other ones that you buy at Binny's and things like that. Anytime Oktoberfest hits, you can walk and there's a whole aisle of Oktoberfest beers, and it's always been one of my favorites. Are there? I ask this question to everybody basically, but are there a few things that are your favorites? You said Marzen, and you said the Oktoberfest type. Is there another style or two that are your favorites when you come to brewing beer?
Yeah, I'm more of a traditional beer style fan, I guess. I like me some good lagers. I love doing our Doppelbock. That's one of my favorite styles too. I love our bourbon vanilla porter. I don't know. I'm in the mood for different things all the time, but usually more traditional styles. I mean, we do have our hazy IPAs and milkshake IPAs and pastry stouts and stuff that we do as well. And try to mix a little bit of the traditional stuff in with the fun stuff.
You mentioned the bourbon vanilla porter. Is that something you have often, or is it just something you have now? Or
it's one of our dark beers that we try to have on all the time. We don't always have milk stouts and barrel aged stouts or anything like that on all the time.
Right.
But Mr. Mustachio is the name of it, and that's something we usually have on tap year round.
Cool. That's I'm not that far, and I'm moving to Lockport, so I know where you guys are, so it's not far at all. So it sounds like a good one to get on out and have. And I did see, of all the ones when I go to your site, you have one of the Metal Monkey beers on your list too. Is this the Pina Coladas? Is that one of their beers?
That's the collaboration that we do with them. It's
okay.
We've done it. I think this is the third year we've done it. So ever since we've been around, we've come out with that beer every year. Usually in the summertime, we'll release it, and it's based on a Pina Colada, so it's pineapple and coconut in a hazy IPA. It's delicious.
Sure. Yeah, it seems like a lot of them. I had one the other day from Hop Butcher. The Ocean Key was similar to that with the pineapple and coconut and things like that, and lime and things like that. Yeah, have you noticed? I mean, being here in Downers Grove, where I'm at now, you had Goldfinger open up, and you have some other places. Goldfinger, who makes basically pilsners and lagers. They're not making the IPAs and things like that. But over the last year or two, it seems to me that more people seem to be making more lagers and pilsners. Have you noticed that, or have I just missed it and it's always been that way?
I think they've always been doing it, but I think it's just coming back around to be popular again.
Okay.
When it's done right, there's nothing better. I mean, if we've kind of stretched the possibilities of beer throughout the last couple of years with different styles and adding different things to beers, and Germans would be hating us right now if they knew some of the stuff we'd be putting in our beer.
Yep.
But I think it's just another trend. Like when bell bottoms come back, it's just like another thing.
Sure.
Lagers are sexy again. It's and it's like anything else. It's a business, and there's going to be different styles, that come back and rotate through everyone's beer fridge. Yeah. So it's always going to come back around, I think.
Yeah, there's no doubt. You look at it, and when you mentioned you always have the hazy IPA, is that Fuss or FUSS? It doesn't matter either way.
No, it's Fuss. Yeah.
Okay. And the Bam Bam Loves Pebbles, is that one of the ones you had right off the bat? Because like I said, I know it was a year and a half ago that I had it, but is it one of the first beers you guys had from Will County?
Yeah, it's one of our original beers. I think when we first opened in March of 2018, we had 6 beers on tap, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of them. Shortly after that, we ran out of beer and had to close our doors again and brew as fast as we could. But yeah, that was one of our original 6. Yeah.
Is that the kind of problems you run into right now? Because, like you said, you always need more space. Is there a problem sometimes where, you know, on a busy weekend or something, you may run out of some things?
Yeah. We do have 16 beers on tap, though. So we have a lot of other options. We try to keep all 16 of those full at any time. You know, but yeah, and now with, you know, kind of being on the map now with this GABF medal, it's, we're kind of in a mad dash now. How do we put this in a larger scale, and how do we brew this faster, you know? And so we've got some things in the works, and the future's looking good right now. But we've got some good things planned out.
Yeah, that's great. It was amazing because the day I stopped at your place, I was at someone's house. I was getting ready to leave at 2:00. And I looked at your site. You said open at 3, so I hung around there for another half hour before I had to stop on by. And they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I got some time to kill. Let's stick around and talk for a little more." But yeah, and I stopped there. Like I said, the people, the wait staff, and the servers, they were all awesome. Walked me through the menu. There were some of the regulars there already. They got there right when the doors opened. But it was very, very nice. And that's a fun thing, too, because when people walk into some of these breweries, you don't know if they're knowledgeable beer fans, not knowledgeable, what they're looking for. And with 16 on tap, it was funny because I asked a couple of questions, and the young lady there said, this and this are my favorites, but this is this. And she knew about all of them. And that's really important, isn't it? Especially for a place like yours, someone's coming in Will County. Figure they see it, nice place, let's stop in. It's got to be pretty important to make sure the staff knows what the heck's going on, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It's. I mean, they're the ones face to face with everybody every day. You know,
right?
You know, I could sit there all night and talk beer. I can talk beer to anybody. It's one of my superpowers, I guess. But
sure.
But all our staff, we take that very seriously, that they're educated in what beer styles. They're all actually Cicerone certified beer servers too. Which is a certificate achievement that you can get. It's an exam that you can take, and there's a Cicerone is basically like a sommelier for wine. This is like the beer version of that, but you can then become a certified Cicerone and then a master Cicerone. But the first step is become a certified beer server, and educating our staff is is very valuable to us and important to us. So
before I let you go, other than Oktoberfest, is there anything else you got planned? Anything else you got that you want to let people know about, or any other specific reason, not other than just checking out your place, that people want to come on out and check out Will County Brewing?
Well, we're actually going through a whole rebrand right now that's going to be announced pretty soon. All new labels, a new company logo and everything. So we're kind of going through a whole new look.
Okay.
A lot of the same beers, our core beers, are going to still be the same, but look a little different. We hired a guy, very talented illustrator that's been working with us on our labels. He's also doing a lot of sales and marketing stuff for us too. So there's going to be some different looks to us pretty soon. And of course, always new beers coming out.
Sure. Can't wait. Yeah. I will. I'll try to get out there again as soon as I can. It's a great area, and it's real easy to get to. It's real easy. The first time I went, I drove right past it. So no one you see the GPS and throw it in there, and you turn right in. It's really a great place, and can't wait to get out there again. Jamie, I appreciate you jumping on. Let's hope the White Sox can get a win tonight and reduce that magic number to 2 and go from there.
It sounds good. Yeah, it looks like they're back on. Still 3-3, top 7. So
yeah. But
I appreciate it, Fred. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks a lot. Jamie Albert from Will County Brewing, really a nice place. Get on out there. It's right there, and as you drive by, the lights on the building, Will County Brewing, right there in the strip mall area. and had a wonderful time the time I was there. I've had some of their beers in the past. I actually walked in, took a picture of the wall, and I said, "Where am I?" And immediately 4 or 5 people said, "You're at Will County." They already knew, the people that follow me on Twitter and Facebook, because they knew what was on the wall at that place. So thanks to Jamie Albert. They do a great job out there. And again, when you go out there, you want to try a gold medal winning beer. The Bam Bam Loves Pebbles. It's a fruit wheat ale. Fruit wheat beer, I'm sorry, a fruit wheat beer, very, very tasty. Whenever you hear wheat, it's going to go down smooth. It's going to go down very smooth, a little bit of a fruit flavor. I can't wait to get back out there. You can pick it up in cans also. And I want to get out there for the collaboration beer, because the Pina Coladas Pineapple Coconut New England IPA. Oof, that sounds great. I've not had the guys from Metal Monkey on yet. I've been there once, and that was during COVID. They weren't doing flights. I love going to places and getting flights, because I can try 2, 3, 4 things and take a sip of them all instead of trying to grab a big one and go from there. You know what? We're going to grab another sip of the big one as I come up with a What's Up Fred's Can. We'll do that in just a second.
Well, maybe it's just because you're ugly.
Ugly? You gotta be kidding me.
Time for What's Up Fred's Can on 1252 Sports Chicago.
Okay, now I love Carmen and Yurko. I love Cap and Jay Hood. I'm listening to them this morning during their crosstalk at 10 o'clock. And they're talking about how the NFL is taking the fun out of the game for taunting, and the players can't celebrate. They had it wrong. I wished I was there. I'm sorry, I'm rocking the table. I wished I was there during crosstalk, because the NFL is not taking fun out of the game. The NFL is taking taunting out of the game. Yesterday, when Jamar Chase drops a ball over the middle and he's laying on his back, and Tayshaun Gibson, who had nothing to do with the play, claps in front of his hands, that's what they're taking out of the game. Tayshaun Gibson could have high-fived the other guys. He could have jumped up and down all he wanted. Taunting is what they're taking out of the game. And I disagree with Cap and Jay Hood and Carmen and Yurko. Taunting should be out of the game. You just beat a guy, you don't get in his face, okay? And that happens far too often. So my problem is with these players that taunt. They know the rules there. You cannot taunt in the NFL. You're going to get a penalty. Tayshaun Gibson, last week he explained how not touching a guy down won't happen again. Maybe this week he can explain how taunting won't happen again. That would be a good thing. Also, it's really simple. When the quarterback or a runner goes out of bounds, you don't hit the guy, Robert Quinn. I know, Robert Quinn, you sucked so bad last year that you figured, listen, I have a chance to hit a guy, I'm going to hit him. You can't do that. You get a penalty, and the drive continues. Wise up. You're making lots of money. You're playing better this year so far than you did all of last year. So wise up a little bit. One other thing that people may or may not have noticed, and I mentioned how it went back. I watched the second half of the game today. As time was winding down in the third quarter, if you're a crazy person like me and you have the game on DVR, go over and watch. As the third quarter is ending, time is running down in the third quarter, 10 seconds, 9, 8. Justin Fields is on the field, and he takes his helmet off. Okay, speaking of stupid, you can't take your helmet off on the field as a penalty. They could have called a penalty on him with the 4, 5, 6 seconds left. An official came up to him and said, put your helmet on. He immediately put his helmet on. You could see the official say, thank you. Justin Fields, any of these other players, know the damn rules. I was going to swear, but I decided not to. Know the damn rules. You cannot take your helmet off. Don't do something stupid to cost your team. And that's almost what they did yesterday. So it's just little things that bother me, get on my nerves. The beer helps. And, you know, so next week we'll be back. We'll be talking about the Bears and the Cleveland Browns. We'll be looking at who the White Sox are going to play in the playoffs. They'll be opening up a homestand with Cincinnati and then a couple games with Detroit to end up their regular season homestand, get ready for the playoffs. So that'll be a lot of fun. I will probably have another beer person on. Thanks to Jamie Albert from Will County Brewing. If you get a chance, head on out there. And it was great to see him, great to talk with him. And again, the Bam Bam meets Pebbles, or loves Pebbles, I'm sorry, the fruit wheat beer. Check it out when you get a chance. At least have one of those before you have any of their other fine beers. I've already put a list down. I'm going to have the bourbon vanilla porter when I get out there, and I can't wait. I'm going to hopefully get out there in the next couple of weeks. So until next week, have a good time. Fat Mike on Wednesday night. We've got all kinds of shows. Check them out on 1252 Sports, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Spotify. You can check all the shows out. You can also see them on Facebook, the 1252 site. So until next week, have a good one. Let's go Bears. My Niners won again, so that was good. I haven't talked about them all game or all day, but they won again. I'm happy. So let's have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. See you soon.